Hey guys, it's Sarah. So this is actually my second time doing this video because when I did it yesterday, I realized that I totally forgot to use my microphone, and so the sound was really awful when I started going in and looking at it to start editing. So I'm going to talk about my first trip with my daughter as a baby that was old enough to really be interested in what was going on around her, and fight sleep and things like that. The other day I did a video where I talked about the first time that we tried to do sleep training with her, where she just went down and we let her cry a bit and go in and comfort her and then leave again, so that she was not relying on me to go down, which means that other people can put her down to bed. So that's been going really well, actually. And this was the first test, kind of taking her out of where we've been every night doing this and seeing what she does differently. We decided to go down to my Oma and Opa's house, which is my grandparents, her great-grandparents. This is my mother's mom and dad. We call them Oma and Opa. They immigrated from Germany after World War II. So my dad, after 30 years of marriage with my mom, still wants to have a good relationship with them. So he, my sister, my brother who lives in state, and I all went down. It's about a 5-hour drive from Dallas to San Antonio. And now we were doing it with a baby. First of all, let me explain what my expectations were in going down there and what I thought was going to happen with the baby. So my dream visit with my Oma and Opa is actually where I get to sit down and have long conversations for them. They have had an incredible life. They're in their 80s and they have traveled like half the globe. My Opa was in the Army. My Oma raised 5 children while traveling across the country and being stationed overseas and all sorts of things. And she would host dinners for officers, for my Opa, who was also an officer, and she would work for the Red Cross and like head up volunteer organizations. I mean, she was busy and worked so hard, and she was so smart. And my Opa, you know, both of them were children living through World War II, and then he fought in Korea and Vietnam. So they have a plethora of just knowledge and experience to impart on us, and I really like to listen to them and to absorb as much of that as I can while I have them. So I really like going and visiting and sitting and talking and getting all these stories. Now, I knew Grace was going to distract from that a little bit because she's the center of attention whenever we're around her, and that's a good thing. That's okay. I wanted for her to just keep doing sleep like she's been doing when we're here at home, and I wanted it to be really smooth and easygoing and awesome. I guessed that that wasn't going to happen, and I was right. So what actually happened was, first of all, we left on a Friday and we came home on a Sunday. So instead of getting up and going on Friday, we had to wait for my siblings and, you know, father to get off from their prospective jobs and things and come home and be able to leave. So we didn't end up leaving till 3 o'clock. And 3 o'clock's kind of a weird time for Grace. So sometimes she's napping then already, and sometimes she's hungry then. It varies on how long she sleeps in the morning. Sometimes if she has a longer nap, and puts us in a different spot. So I had been packed up and ready to go, and everything was good. But 3 o'clock, Grace, I was holding off a nap so that she wasn't asleep, and then everyone decides to go, and now I have to wake her up to put her in the car seat to get her back to sleep. So we were fighting off a nap, and I had fed her. So it was a weird timing. I fed her solid food part of the way down, and then we stopped to have dinner, and then about an hour till we got there, she was hungry and fussy again. So we stopped and I fed her, and then we went on. Well, she finally fell back asleep, and her bedtime's 7, 8 o'clock at night. And when we got there, it was 9, and she'd been asleep a little bit in the car, but it disrupted her and woke her up. And then she wanted to play and explore. And it was a new place and new smells, and she just wanted to stay awake and be a part of absolutely everything. So putting her down that night took about 2 hours. It was really, really hard, and then she wasn't sleeping long. She was just kind of taking naps. I ended up just staying back in the room that I was staying in with her so that she wasn't disturbing anyone else and everyone else could visit. I ended up bringing her into the bed with me and creating a little pallet for her at about 3:30 in the morning because she was just not having it. I brought her pack and play for her to sleep in. It was the closest thing I had to a crib that wasn't her crib. She wasn't interested. She kept looking at me like, Mom, this is not my crib. She has really long toes, and she kept trying to reach and find. She likes to take the slats on the side of the crib, and she likes to wrap her toes around it. She couldn't do that because there's no slats. It's all mesh. So the first night was really rough. And then we woke up at 7 like her normal wake-up schedule. She behaved pretty well all day Saturday. Like, we went out to eat as a family, and she was very well behaved, very happy the whole time, not fussy, nothing like that. But she wasn't taking her naps. She would only go down for about 30 minutes, and I was putting her down whenever she gave me her cues. So when she would rub her eyes, start yawning, anytime she gave me cues, I tried to put her down, and she was not interested. She did not want to go down. And then that night, I didn't even try putting her in the pack and play, really, because she was not interested, so she slept with me again. So I was stiff for about 2 days because it was a little twin-sized bed, and I had her all packed in so that I couldn't hurt her and she couldn't roll, get out of that space where I could, because she was between me and the wall, and then I was between her and the floor. But I made her pallet so big that I had to lay on my side, and I couldn't move at all, which is really uncomfortable. So we talked Saturday about the best way to come home and when to leave, and I was like, it's really around Grace, so once I feed her and she's ready to nap, that's really the best time to go. And my sister goes, so my dad wasn't really listening. My sister goes, so maybe her 9 o'clock nap would be a really good time to leave. And so that's what we did. On Sunday, we left about at 9, and it worked out really well. She slept her morning nap for the majority of the first half of the trip. When we stopped to go to the bathroom and get snacks for us, I also fed her. Then she stayed up a little bit, and then she went back to sleep. She did get fussy about an hour from home, so Mesquite, she got really, really fussy again. I was able to get her back to sleep. The biggest thing I was worried about was that when we got home, she wasn't going to go back to sleep like she was supposed to, that it was going to kind of undo what we had done. And that didn't happen, which was really exciting. She's been going back to sleep, and she was very happy to be back in her crib. Overall, I didn't get to spend near as much time with my Oma and Opa as I wanted to, but it also ended up being a really good trip. Grace did a good job for a 6.5-month-old baby who was in a brand new place and wanted to explore and learn, and everything was different. So and I was surprised in myself because I didn't feel like a failure. I accepted it with grace, and I was okay with the fact that it wasn't perfect and it didn't go exactly how I wanted it to. The way it happened was the way it was going to happen, and it was a good trip. So it was able to stay a good trip for me and not become, I didn't let myself spiral down and get really angry at myself or frustrated with myself. So yeah, I had a really good trip, and now I'm talking about having a trip at the end of February and more trips with her. I'm excited. I'm excited that I seem to be getting the hang of some of this without letting, when something doesn't work quite how I wanted it to, become a huge deal to me. I'm letting that stay as something simple. Things don't always go the way I want them to, and I understand that, but I'm not letting the mess ups affect me the way I did before. So maybe this helped you, hearing that it's not just you and babies do this and it can be so frustrating. I hope it did. I really hope it helped someone out there. So if you liked what you saw, or if this resonates with you, or you'd like to see more or hear more, please hit subscribe. If you have any topics that you'd like to hear me talk about, or any costume ideas that you'd like to see me dissect or show how to make, let me know in the comments as well. I hope you enjoyed it. Say bye, Grace. Look. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye.